You just got to college, you're on your own, and you have that idea in your head that you want to be building credit while also building your knowledge. The trouble is, you won't get approved for the Chase Sapphire Reserve that you really want because you're a student and you have no credit history. Sure, student loans kind of count, but you won't really be paying them off until you graduate or during a summer job. What are your best options then? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Jacob Fisher, and today we are talking about the best student credit cards and how to build credit when you're just starting out. We have a couple options to build your credit, so when you graduate, you'll be able to buy that house you've been looking for. Well, at least a couple years after you graduate, unless you have quite a bit of money when you graduate. You'll also be able to get those low interest loans that people talk about so often and more. Before we get into it though, if you see that like button down there and it's not highlighted, why don't you go ahead and highlight it for me and then subscribe while you're down there too. I wouldn't mind. And if you're feeling into it, and with that said, let's get into it. I first wanted to go over a few credit cards that you can apply for while you are a student, and you do get some rewards with these credit cards while also building your credit. Then we can go over other ways to build your credit while in school. I wanted to stress this part though. While in school, it's important to put little things on your credit card that you have in your debit account or bank account that you can immediately pay off, or pay off as soon as it kind of gets there on your bill, generally a couple days after you make the purchase. I think it's a good habit to start paying your credit card bill every single week. That way you get into the habit and you won't be behind on any payments. If you miss a payment on your credit card, it's really going to hurt your score, and it might take a little while for that missed payment to come off your score. If you are really worried about using a credit card and not being able to pay it off, then don't use it at all, or use it once a month for like one little thing. Don't use it for, I don't know, a new TV, because you don't necessarily need that. And remember to just pay it off weekly. So let's get into some of those credit cards. First and second, we have two Discover cards that are for students. The Discover has tried to sort of help people out with lower credit, where they can use a Discover card to help build their credit. The only issue with them is that they're sort of like American Express, where they're just not accepted everywhere. Most places do accept them, but you might run into the occasion where you cannot use your credit card because they don't take Discover. The two cards though are the Student Cashback card and the Student Chrome credit card. The Cashback card is fairly good. It's 5% cashback at revolving categories, just like the Freedom Flex, plus 1% cashback on everything else. This card also has two unique features that are really nice for students. First, Discover will match the cashback you've earned in the first year. Just dollar for dollar, it's matched, which is cool. They also provide you a $20 statement credit every semester or year that your GPA is 3.0 or higher. That's pretty neat for a card with a $0 annual fee, and kind of promotes you to, get good grades. Moving on to the other card, we have the Student Chrome credit card that provides 2% cashback at gas stations and restaurants and 1% on everything else. They also do cashback match for that first year and a $20 statement credit each year your GPA is above 3.0. Great for a $0 annual fee card, and I think gas stations and restaurants are fairly good, considering I did spend a decent amount on gas when I was in college, along with restaurants. Well, if bars count for that too, right? Moving on, we have another kind of fun one from Capital One. It's a Journey Student Rewards card that earns 1% cashback on everything. But wait, there's more. It boosts your cash back to 1.25% cash back if you pay on time. Kind of incentivize you to pay on time and not hurt your credit score by paying on time, and then you earn more cash back at the end of the day. That sounds worth it to me, especially with a 0% annual fee. Actually, there's no way I would recommend a card with a higher than 0% annual fee or $0 annual fee. It just doesn't make sense for a student to have a card with an annual fee in most situations. Additionally, a student could get a secured credit card because it allows you to have a credit card if you don't get approved for the student credit cards, or if you're just looking for a different one. There are a ton of companies out there for this, and there's no really best one for the secured card because they all work pretty much the same way. You give them money, and that's your credit limit. After a few years, you can upgrade it and potentially receive that security deposit back, unlike all of the college apartments where you receive nothing back, even though you spent hours cleaning the place. There's another option for credit cards too though. Let's say your school partnered with a bank. In my case, it was PNC Bank that they partnered with, where students could get a bank account with them and not have those little fees that banks like to tack on if you don't have deposit or if your account balance isn't above like $25,000 or something like that. PNC actually offers a credit card that gives you 4% on gas stations, 3% on dining, 2% on grocery stores, and 1% on everything else for the first $8,000 in combined purchases in those bonus categories. Forming that kind of relationship with the bank, because you have a bank account with them, makes it easier for you to get approved for the credit card. So you could potentially, if you're a PNC user like myself, well, I guess I have Chase too, then you might have a better time or chance of getting accepted for the credit card that they offer. The grocery store one, I have to say, is pretty helpful since that's probably where I spent most of my money while in college. Chase might have something similar for their higher tier cards, but they also have a student credit card. It is one of the only cards out there, well, student credit cards, that has a welcome bonus. You get $50 after the first purchase is made within 3 months of account opening. That could be like $1 at the student bookstore. You also earn 1% cash back on everything else with no annual fee. Let's get into a couple other options though to help build your credit. These won't be too long, but I wanted to issue a warning for those trying to build their credit. Sometimes you can find companies offering you a loan that you pay back over time to help build your credit history. That's just not worth it. They charge you to build your credit pretty much since you need to pay a fee along with an APR that they might charge you for not making payments, or even if you make payments, it might just charge you in general. It's much better to try to get a secured credit card that doesn't do that rather than a loan that charges you, because that secured card will not charge you. But let's get into the other options. The best option, I think, in this case is to ask one of your friends who has a card to become an authorized user on their card. You're not getting a copy of your friend's card because that would just be weird. If you could spend money on your friend's account, I guess you could pay him back, but still that creates this whole dynamic that you might not want to encounter. So if you get a card in the mail because you're an authorized user, just tear it up, burn it, cut it, do whatever you want with it. Just don't use it. You are on their account to help build your credit, not to spend money. It can be worth it because it'll allow you to build your credit without being worried about a credit card. Authorized users can build their credit to good or excellent pretty easily. All you need to be wary of is the person who actually owns the card is smart with it. If they're missing payments or have a high utilization, then it might eventually hurt you. But if they're smart with it and don't miss payments and really don't keep a balance on it, then it should build your credit along with theirs, ideally. I think that just might be the best idea out there to help build your credit card as a student, along with the best credit cards out there for students. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I just want to hear them. I upload videos on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on travel and finance, so if that sounds like something interesting to you, make sure to hit that little subscribe button down there. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time.